Mujtaba sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because of whom Allah's mercy is upon us. Dear and respected audience, Allah says in Quran, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Fasalli li rabbika wanhar. Sadaqallahu azim. So pray for your Lord and sacrifice animals or give sacrifice for him. Nahr in Islamic vocabulary means sacrificing an animal in the path of Allah. We all Muslims are aware of the history of how the Nahr came to be, but just as a reminder, that Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he started preaching Islam at an early age, and then because of the tyranny of his people, he had to leave his hometown. He went to Egypt, and there he had to go through the tyranny of the Pharaoh, and all this time he was childless. He did not have the Pharaoh. He gave Hazrat Sarah alayhi salam a maid, a Kanise, a slave girl. And then Hazrat Sarah alayhi salam, she gave that slave girl to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam with the intention that maybe it's with her that Ibrahim alayhi salam will get a son. So then Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he got his first son at the age of 80, somewhere around 80, which was Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam. When the baby was born, then Hazrat Sarah alayhi salam, she felt jealous about Hazrat Hajra because Hajra got a child when Sarah was barren. So now she started having issues and fighting with Hazrat Hajra alayhi salam, and she started insisting Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam to leave Hajra. And then Allah ordered Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam to take Sarah and Ismail and bring them to a place where there was nothing and leave them there. So Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he took Hajar, and in Quran Allah says that don't worry about this slave girl, we will take care of her. So Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he took Hajra and Hazrat Ismail, and it all happened pretty soon after Ismail alayhi salam was born. A few months, if not few weeks. So he took them. There was a journey around 40 some days, and then he brought them to where Makkah is today. And at that time, there was nothing, just rock, burning hot rock, and it's a valley, no river, no water, no tree, nothing. So Hazrat Ibrahim Islam, he brought them there, and then once they were there, he started his journey back. Hazrat Hajra alayhi salam, she asked him, held her the reins of whoever he was riding. He asked her, what are you leaving us here for? Because put yourself in her place. You got a child to a person who was childless till he was 80. Then his other wife started fighting with you. Now the person brought you here, and now he is leaving you somewhere where there's no no living thing, let alone a human. Nothing. No bird, no water, no tree, no nothing. So she asked him, where are you leaving? Where are you going? Why are you leaving us? And Ibrahim alayhi salam, of course, there would have been all those emotions, crying, weeping, pleading, everything. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he could not say a word. He just pointed with his index finger, right index finger towards the sky, towards Allah. And then Hajar al-Islam, she left him the reins. She said, okay, if Allah has ordered you, then go. Allah is not going to let us go waste. So Ibrahim al-Islam went. Then we all know how the spring of Zamzam came to being. And then because there was water, and that water is a kind of a water that if you drink, you don't feel hungry. It's good for you to live off of. So the birds started gathering there, and there was this another tribe of Arabs, the Banu Jurham. They were passing by. They said, okay, why are there birds here? There was nothing here. So they came and they saw a woman with a child. Allah helped her. They asked her to settle around. She said, okay, but the only condition is I keep the ownership of the well, of the water. They said, okay. And then that's how the settlement of Makkah started. And a time came when it saw that Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam, he started running and helping his father, and he grew older, 12, 14, whatever age it was. And then Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he saw a dream that he is slaughtering his son in the path of Allah. Now, the dream of a prophet and a messenger is true. So he got the point that Allah wants me to slaughter my son, the most beloved thing that I have in this whole world. He wants me to slaughter it in his path. So he then again took the journey, 40 days, came to Makkah, and now imagine the trial, the toughness of a father who is going to slaughter his son. And it takes him 40 days. So for every moment of every step taken, those of you who have children, you can imagine how hard would it be, how many times Shaitan would have tried. How hard would it have been for a father to take that journey? And then he came to Mecca, of course, met Ismail, his mother, and then in due course, when both father and son were alone, he took him, come on, son, let's take a walk. They went out of the outskirts, and then Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he told Hazrat Ismail, as Quran says, that I saw in my dream that I am slaughtering you. And Ismail alayhi salam, he was son of a prophet and a prophet himself. He got the point. He got that his father is telling him that Allah wants him to slaughter him. So what did he say? He did not say, Dad, what kind of a dad you are? When I was a baby, you left us alone here in this barren desert where there is nothing but burning rock. Then somehow we survived. You lived with your other wife. We barely made one's meat, and now that I have started and I have started grown enough to help my mom, who has spent all his life protecting me, did not marry anybody else, remain faithful to you, and now that I have started to finally grow big and live the life, you have come to kill me? That is what most of the children, pretty much everybody else would have said. Right? You put yourself in the place of Ismail alayhi salam. You have a father who does not visit you, comes once a year for a day or two, and then goes back to his other wife. Your mom was left alone with you in a place where there was nothing. And now that there is a settlement, you have grown big enough, you can have started understanding things. You're looking to a life in the future. The same father comes and is telling you, I'm going to kill you. I am ordered to kill you. Put yourself in there, or anybody you know in there. And it's not, of course, you will argue, you will kick the person out, say, you are not my father, blah, 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 blah. right? Our kids disown us when we yell at them for something they have done wrong. And here he is, even though we have done so much for them, which they don't take for granted. And here is Ismail and his father, who, if you look in the worldly terms, have not done anything for him, if any, abandoned them. But Ismail knew that my father is a prophet, and Ismail was a prophet. So what did he say? He said, "Oh, my father, don't delay what you are being told, and you will find me a patient person, a person who is not only a believer but has patience and perseverance." And not only that, Ismail suggested his father to put a blind on his eyes so he does not shake, his will does not shatter by looking at the face of his son at the last moment. And then Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he did. He put a blindfold on his eyes, he put his son down, and then he worked the knife. And Allah, through His limitless majesty and power and mercy, He sent Jibreel alayhi salam with the sheep, a lamb from the heaven, and replaced that lamb in place of Ismail. And the voice came that you have made your dream a truth, a reality, Ibrahim. We have accepted it. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, he took off his blindfold, and there was a lamb in front of him, and Ismail was standing next to Jibreel alayhi salam. And then Allah replaced that zib with zibh azim. What that zibh azim is another topic, but for us, Allah made it a sign that forever, as long as there will be Muslims living on this earth, on the 10th of Zulhijjah for us, all we will sacrifice an animal to commemorate the sacrifice of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now we have made it very mechanical. We go, we get a sheep or a goat, we slaughter it, and say, oh, we have done enough. Imagine when we are slaughtering that animal, imagine if it was your son. Imagine if it was one of your children. If Allah would have asked you to slaughter them, put yourself in place of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and then ask yourself a question. What would I do? If I have to sacrifice my children for the sake of Allah, question yourself, gauge yourself, find an answer. Where do we stand? How important is Allah's will to us? Don't answer mechanically. Think about it. Don't hide behind why would Allah do that? Oh no, Allah is not that. This is no. When we are sacrificing that animal, all of us, myself more than any of you, need to make a pact. Oh Allah, we are sacrificing this animal because this is what you have asked for. But we are making a promise to you that if a time comes that we have to sacrifice ourselves or our children for your sake, we will not hesitate and do it with just as easily as we are sacrificing this animal. This is the intent. This is the feeling that we need to have when we go and visit the place. That is why sacrificing an animal has to be done by yourself. That's the best way. Or in your presence. It is not something to be outsourced. I'm sorry, but it is not something to be outsourced. How can you get that feeling? How can you ask yourself that question? If there is no blood in front of you, there is no life being taken. Outsourcing is not in the deen. Our problem is that we want to outsource it. One of my relatives, somebody dies in the family, what do? We bring the children from the madrasas and tell them to keep reciting Quran, and at the end we feed them and say, oh, all that Quran, now ship it to the deceased. That's what we do. It's not outsourcing. You love the deceased, you are their children, sons, daughters, grandchildren, you recite Quran. You sit, do it, and then send it, because then it will go there. It will reach them. Because you are their progeny, or anybody that you love. You do it yourself and then share what you have done. Then it will have a merit. Outsourcing, oh, I got those 50 hufas and they furnished these 5,000 Qurans. Okay, I'm sorry, but I don't think that counts. Yeah, it will benefit those who had been reading. May Allah send it to the ones, Allah is merciful. May it may go to those as well who are doing it or who they're sending, but you as a person are not gonna get anything out of it. Get out of outsourcing. These deen is not outsourcing. Deen is not shortcuts. Deen is a struggle. Remember, we are not in this world here to be software engineers, to be doctors and lawyers and the politicians. We are not here for that. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah has created us just to obey Him, worship Him, follow His guidelines. These things that we do, they are just to keep us alive. So if we cannot find time to do things the right way, we need to get our priorities straight. And I'm ashamed of myself and I'm telling you because I am the same like everybody else. I need to put my priorities straight as well. So, and this is the moment. 10th of Zulhajj is the moment to ask ourselves that question. To make a pact, renew our pact. It's not the animal, it's us. Nahar is not taking the life of that animal alone. It is taking the life of all of our these desires that have been or still are bringing us, taking us away from the path of Allah, from establishing that connection with Allah, the connection that needs to be there between a creator and the creation, the connection that Allah deserves to have with us, that nothing supersedes, nothing exceeds our desire to please Allah, that every act that we do, perform, is to make Allah happy with us. This is what Nahar is about. Did not work that knife on the throat of that animal alone. Cut the jugular vein of everything that stands between us and Allah. This is what the true philosophy of Nahar is. This is what we need to think about on 10th of Dhul Hajj. It's not merely a ritual. It's not merely a ritual. It's not just feasting and celebrating and being happy. It is celebration. It's happiness. But it's the renewal of the pact as well. So take it as a renewal of the pact. And we cannot, we cannot make that intention. We cannot have that perspective up until we have a clean heart and mind. And the only way to clean our hearts is the remembrance of Allah. Because when the heart gets cleaned, then the belief comes in, and the belief is following the path of Rasulullah without any question, the way he did, the way he wants us to do it. And that is only possible with a clean heart and mind and soul. And the soul gets purified just by remembrance of Allah, which is the sole purpose of us gathering together in these sessions. So, with this purpose, this intention, this focus, let us all start and pray to Allah that He cleanses our heart, that He gives us the ability to renew and strengthen our pact with Him as a Muslim, as an abd, as a slave and servant and creation of Allah. That if the time comes, which comes every day and every night, every moment of our life, when we have to choose between the path of Allah, between the command of Allah, and everything else, that we will not hesitate and choose the path of Allah, the command of Allah, the will of Allah over everything else. So, with this intention, this purpose, let's all start. Say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Kalma Tawheed, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. La ilaha. Kalma Tamjeed, Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. दुरूद शरीफ इब्राहिमी अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व अला आलि मुहम्मद कमा सल्लैता अला इब्राहिम व अला आलि इब्राहिम इन्नका हमीदुम मजीद अल्लाहुम्मा बारिक अला मुहम्मद व अला आलि मुहम्मद कमा बारकता अला इब्राहिम व अला आलि इब्राहिम इन्नका हमीदुम मजीद। سيد الاستغفار أستغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله العظيم الذي أستغفر الله. آية كريمة لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. سورة فاتحة. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سورة إخلاص. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. آية الكرسي الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. الله الحسيب الله الحسيب الله الحسيب. لطيف لطيف. يا مجيب السميع يا مجيب السميع. يا وهاب يا وهاب. يا باري يا باري. يا قابض. يا علي العظيم يا علي العظيم يا علي. يا حي يا قيوم يا حي يا قيوم. يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. يا حنان يا منان يا حنان يا منان. يا غفور يا رحيم يا غفور يا رحيم. Ya Jawadu Ya Kareem, Ya Jawadu Ya Kareem, Ya Jawadu Ya Kareem. Ya Allamul Ghuyub, Ya Allamul Ghuyub, Ya Allamul Ghuyub. Ya Wadudu Ya Tuf, Ya Wadudu Ya Tuf. Ya Baqiyu, Ya Baqiyu. Ya man. Ya Basitu. Ya Kabir al-Muta'al, Ya Kabir al-Muta'al. Ya سلام قولا من رب رحيم، سلام قولا من رب رحيم. يا بديع العجائب بالخير، يا بديع العجائب بالخير. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allah Ya Rahman. Ya Allah Ya Rahman. Ya Allah. Hmm. Salatul Khawf. Those of you who do not know this Durood Sharif and cannot read from the screen, they recite whichever Durood Sharif they know. This Durood Sharif is Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi salatan takunu lana amanan min kulli khawf. Now recite Surah Fatiha one time and make dua in your dua. Please make dua to Allah that Allah helps us all and takes this calamity of COVID away from us. The Delta variant is again on the surge and the cases are increasing. May Allah help us all. Salli ala Muhammad. Inshallah, from me and my family, Eid Mubarak to you all. If we don't